Good evening, one and all. It is Wednesday, it's the middle of the week, and it's time that we jump into some more good old Warframe. Welcome everyone, hope you're doing well where you are around the world. That bar of stuff in front of the ship has gone through the screen again. Yep. Just a little bit into space there, as so happens to it. Yeah, with all the Gifts of the Lotus going on, it's got the various open world rotational bits and pieces, night waves trying to grab my attention, Thermia Fractures, Stardays, Ghoul Purge, and Razorback Armada as well. There's a little bit going on in the Origin system. Just a little bit going on there today. But we'll be getting to some of that in just a moment, won't we? Hello there, Cassentor. Hello there, Sir Kelton. Hope you're both doing well today. Welcome, welcome. So, first things first, as I do want to sort that Razorback Armada, get that kind of out of the way. Is that UI going out the window? Yes, it is. Yep. So we're going to get that out the way. Now, when it comes to a Razorback, you need Razorback ciphers, and thanks to previous farming success, I already have 7 of them built and could build another 10. So what I'm going to do is actually start the building and then go run it straight away anyway. Previous runs of the Razorback is making this quicker than ever. And that is great, so I can just get this kind of bashed out nice and quick. Oh, Cat Centaur, tornado sirens going off. That, yeah. Be safe, please. Definitely be safe.
RRRR Razorback.
Okay then, Bowser. Thank you very much for the 28 months of support there. Much appreciated. Yes, indeed, it is Razorback time. Something that the bot cannot accurately replicate there. And Andrew!
No Twitch, I don't want ads.
I agree, I absolutely agree. And a very good choice as to how to handle that. Andrew of the 04FEB variety up onto 42 months. Really good at 45. Nearly a namesake level of months right there. Thank you very much for continued support, both of you there. Much appreciated. Okay, now with a Razorback cipher having finished, that tells me I am dilly-dallying, so let's head on over to Earth. Let's head over to the Razorback Armada, and you know what? Let's run it on public, why not? Let's be to the benefit of other people. Who knows? They may even be to the benefit of us. 27 and 26, they should be plenty good. 18 should be plenty good as well. Let's go punch this thing in the legs a few times over. Hello, Darth Washman. Hope you're doing well.
The assassination target is nearby.
Oh, that is a juicy volt speed boost.
If Anyo's prototype survives our assault, he'll be able to draw in a mountain of new offerings. We must turn his scheme against him. Stay alert. Scans show this.
There we go. Pop that through. Thanks, Volt, for the boost.
You may have to deal with
We're already there. Now we do need everyone to stand right on this terminal to get it started. Yep. He's too far away. He's still too far away. There we go.
Smile.
Now we can start. Good. Let's get out of the way. Over here. Yep, Radika, thank you very much for the resub there. Let's see, you are up onto 23 months. Much appreciated. And hello to you as well. Hope you are doing well today. Flashpoint, I am doing well, thanks for asking. Ooh, let's see, can we grab the focus orb? Just about. Now let's kill everything behind that door. Yeah, we gotta kinda wait for... Gotta wait for the mowers to do their thing here. There we go. 2 of them have done their thing just nice and quickly there. Let's launch another. Hack it. I'm just gonna burn through ciphers, I don't care. Let's give people a raw boost. Just more damage, why not? This mission is primarily waiting for the mowers to do their... Sorry, bursers to do their burster things. Which we probably will be good with now. We just need to wait for it to become vulnerable, which is kind of hard to tell with everything else affecting it. It might just insta-pop from status effects. Yeah, that works. Alright. Easy as that. That is really the extent of this mission. 2.5 minutes in and out.
Target down.
Can't be too mad at that.
Contract complete. Great work, Tenno.
But we do have to do it 2 more times. So, let's do it 2 more times. The actual missions themselves don't exactly pay too handsomely, but that's not the problem. That's not what we're here for. It is, of course, the is it Hurricane Catalyst we get as payment? I think it's Hurricane Catalyst, yeah. Yippies. Dash. I am using the raw builds as weapon max build, not the fastest build for navigating, but at the same time, if I'm public and I need to wait for people at both the boss room and then extraction, there's no point me having maximum range on my setup. So I might as well just have the damage bonus in case it may help anyone's damage be a little bit more damaging. I'm gonna grab that. I don't think that focus orb counted towards my Tectilist artifact. Yo, is it the Kengineer, they ask. Yes, it's me. Oh, Titania's got this one. I'll go to the other side.
Time to go to work.
Bop. Ryan, did you somehow click through a double hydrate? How is that even possible? Cheers. Let's send out a wave of heat, because everyone likes burning. If I keep up the fire on this thing, it might work out. There we go. Yeah, I think it just burned passively, so that's fine. Also, I think we had a request for a purple. I can do that mid-fight. Let's grab the next one of these. Anytime. There we go. See, it's health that has stages. We just can't really see the fact that it has stages. But it does. Oh, you know what? There is a whole lot of stuff behind here. So let me just kind of do this. Oh, yeah, that's cute. Ooh, focus orb. Don't mind if I do. Thank you. And we're good. Let's get out of here. Damn, it's actually you. Still yes. Ah, dear. You just noticed Lavos actually picks up energy orbs? That he does, because it uses his passive to give him status immunity. You can hear me from the stream. Oh, hello there. How am I supposed to pronounce that? Is that Leatherdrix or is that an I? Either Drixel, Leatherdrixel, or is it just Evedrix in 2 bars? I honestly can't tell. I'm terrible at reading usernames. Righty, one more run through, let's go. From Ryan Jim Matthews saying, I know I can just check, but in the process make a discussion. Is there a video on the newish old piece modes? So I did a video on Descendia, which walks you through details on that. And MH Blackie did a video on Parental Rebellion. We did it as a kind of a paired set of videos. So I've got this side covered for you. MH Blackie's got that side covered for you. In terms of the actual modes themselves, right there. Notably, I don't cover what happens on floor 21. And that's because it was a sponsored video. D requested that I didn't cover and spoil that. So, suffice to say, be prepared for what you would expect on a final floor of a descent. And we've seen it on stream. It's both. Sentinel say I found that focus orbs won't contribute to artifacts sometimes until I transfer out and back in. Yeah, I think it's something to do with not being the host. Where if you're not the host, it can sometimes just forget to actually load the operator or load the artifact, and so you can't make progress towards it because you haven't got it to make progress towards. And then when you switch, it does some check somewhere and goes, oh yeah, it does exist, we're good. That would be my general estimation at this point in time. However, there is something a little more sinister, which I have reported to DE, but I do need to further verify. That is that if you have not yet collected your daily focus, and you go into a long mission, an endless mission, say like Descendia, then you will continue to gain focus orbs until you have got your daily focus. After which point they are replaced with tower orbs, the blue ones, but those do not show up in that mission. They can only start showing up once you've started a new mission. That is, if you hit the focus cap in a mission, that's it, you're done for orbs for the day. Until you leave that mission. Which is not ideal, you know. If you go a long mission, all of a sudden you just can't use your tech-list artifact anymore because it's just not charging. Alright, looks like that one's been done twice. That means both of the mowers or bursters have been used. Bring in a new one. There we go. Let's give everyone a raw buff. Everyone loves raw buffs. Let's send out a wave of fire. I believe my wave of fire did not adequately reach this lot. Let me just hit them with that. And we're good. Alright, let's get out of here. These lots are alive because I did not adequately kill them. There we are. Oh, I appear to be picking up some pigment. Nice. And with that, we have 3 complete. That should give us our battle pay.
Let's get out of here.
And 44 pigment. I have hundreds of this pigment. I should probably see if my clan dojo needs it. That could... yeah. Yeah. Why do I have a pingeth? Ah. Not a dangerous ping, real good. And there we go, we have our Hurricane Catalyst just like that. Lovely, lovely! I think we had, same guy in the mission twice. We did indeed. What do you look at that? You managed to, a random squad into me twice out of the 3 runs I did. Well played. Okie dokie. I don't know why I've gone to the Arsenal. That's on my mind. What was it? Yes, I wanted to check current focus situation. Now the Panda say, I guess you can call me a bit of an avant-garde Warframe player, the way my main was not in the top 5 most used Warframes of the year. You know, a bit of a trendsetter if you will. Your main was not in the top 5. You realise that a lot of frames are not in the top 5, right? I'll be distracted from my distraction one moment. Global community stats, usage, 2025. The top 5 frames accounts for 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. About 19% of usage. That's Wukong, Gals, Volt, Revenant, Wisp. You're speaking to a Lavos main, after all. 64, there's 63 frames. 63 unique frames, not counting prime and umbral variants. 64th would be Folly, which is not here yet. There are more Warframes than Wukong and Revenant? Absolutely. There's also Rhino. And Dante. Dante, unsurprisingly, pretty up there in a usage. Yeah. Looking at it now, Rhino isn't as up there in usage as I'd have thought. No. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, Rhino and Rhino Prime combined are doing pretty well, but still. But no, I was here to check focus. Oh, I need to go back out and in to get it to show the daily cap again, don't I? There we go. Yes, they do split the prime regular variants in the stats. They do. Okay, so 266k focus still needed. So I should be able to get that pretty quickly for demonstration purposes and testing purposes. And both test and demonstration is precisely what I wish to do. So let's grab a worm, because worm is good. And honestly, I'm just going to stick with this loadout right here, because this loadout slaps, to put it simply. Let's switch focus school over to Naramon, only because I have set up Naramon with with this. So what this does is it gives me an initial charge of 40%, 41.2% faster charge rate as well. So this should give me the Tower Strikes as quickly as possible, basically. I just kind of want to see, you know, quickly as quickly. But also, the more pressing matter of, will I run out of focus orbs because I hit focus cap without adequately replacing them? So let's just go to the laziest high enemy density location I can manage, which should be this one here. This should be rolling in the affinity gains to make this happen. Yo!
Apparently more numbers.
More numbers indeed. Would you look at that? We're on to 11 months of support. This is the very last month you get to enjoy that lovely golden mug next to your name now, Soup. Thank you very much for the continued support. Much appreciated at tier 2.
Your
no
enemies
less.
have grown fierce. Use all that you have learned.
Lens on the K-Drive too? Absolutely, you know it. Can't even use the K-Drive here, but it appears to have an impact. Also, technically that 2000 affinity should have an impact. And that 2000. Anyway, enough hitting random stuff. Let's activate this, let's activate that, and clap. Why is my focus orb down here? I don't want to be down here. This will mess up my spawns. I want to be up here, where we just mess up the end. I do not have influence active. Let's just throw that. Ah, even throwing it is a little bit too dangerous. There we go. Influence is active. Now I can spread Omega Gas Clouds. Let's do it. Cool. Yeah, it looks like I'm just going to have to farm this room. It's not ideal, but I could farm it. So that is like 25,000 focus earned. Not a huge chunk, to be honest with you. But we'll get there. I did grab that focus orb, and as much killing as I could do, I'm at about 80% charge now. Yeah. Not bad, say we're a minute in, but we're then going to have to wait for the next orb to roll around. And that is, again, with that 40% initial charge and 41% charge rate bonus. If you just had the lenses and not the initial charge, I'd be half as ready to use the ability. So here we are, it's ready. I'm going to activate it straight away, because otherwise any charge I gain now would be wasted. And swing! I did come across an interesting post on Reddit about the textless artifacts. So, someone looked into the damage they were dealing and found that they are using the enemy hit point damage, enemy hit point level scaling curve, but from their own base damage, which means that against Steel Path, where there is that massive bonus to their hit points, and if they're not already armor stripped, this is where you'd run into issues of not being as damaging as you may hope. But it also explains why, against certain enemies, like the Acolytes, they just bloody well one-shot them. No focus orb active at the moment, so we should be due one in the next like 30 seconds, maybe less. Hopefully less. I'm only about 60% charged this time, which I guess I was spending some of the charge time activating the swing, and also I had overcharge. There's one thing I'm not a fan of, is the if you overcharge your Debilitate artifact, you don't get anything more for it. It'll be like having a Warframe that had a 100 energy to cast ability and having exactly 100 max energy. It's like, okay, cool. You can cast it now you're at 100, but like if you pick up another energy orb somehow, like if you got equilibrium and it gives you health, you've just lost out on it. Alright, full charge. Let's just go over this side and swing. What scales enemy level? The damage of the swings like that. And it scales not with enemy level linearly or anything like that on Vauban's abilities, on Grendel's abilities. It instead scales with their level scaling equation. So it follows the curve, which means technically you're doing percentage-based damage. Technically. The actual percent amount varies based on factors such as also how much armor have they got and what's their base hit points. But if you take the same unarmored, otherwise unflinching enemy, the same stack of hit points, and just level scale that, you'll deal the same amount of damage percent-wise at every level, theoretically. But big emphasis on the theoretically. Nearly got another full charge. Now another thing as well, if I understand correctly, is that charge is based on focus you would gain, I believe. Actually, no, I don't know if that's true. I think it's based on focus you would gain, but then I come to think of it, and it's also got that little extra scaling from Lens you equip. I think it's mostly based on the focus you would have gained. Focus you would have gained is based on what's it? The affinity of the enemies, and the affinity of Xmas units is a lot higher than normal enemies, which means as Xmas density increases, your charge rate increases. Ah yes, I'd like to grab that focus orb just so I can dunk on Misery. Thank you. Misery, over here please. Make this nice and easy for me. Am I running gas on Zorus? I've got it infused from Lavos' Venom's Formation. Oops, I meant to tap the whole gas orb. Yeah, it is a little bit harder to test the various Texas artifact numbers because you can't charge them in Simulacrum, you're very right. It's why I'm referring to a Reddit post that extensively tested them and not my own extensive testing, because that would break. And also would make for very bad content for all of you lot. I've infused gas onto my weapons via Lavos' Valence Formation. So it's a Lavos exclusive augment. Basically makes him giga powerful. I get 200% gas bonus on all of my attacks because I've chosen gas. It gives me guaranteed status effective gas on all of my attacks. And it gives the gas status proc 200% bonus damage because it is a gas modded effect, not heat and toxin combining into gas. It is one of exceptionally few ways of doing that.
The big
Yo!
5-0.
Indeed, would you look at that? A Raptor Mark II with the 50 months of support. Much appreciated. Thank you very much. Are you going to catch up with the number of Warframes in Warframe? You're getting close. Thank you. Only way to add modded gas damage? I think there are some gas mods out there for specific weapons. Something tells me biotic rounds, but I might be wrong on that one. Ooh! Blue orb. Okay. Not 100% consistent on that issue. Interesting. Interesting. Oh, is it leaded gas? Apparently, yeah. Alright, well that was the entire reason I was here, to see if I got a blue orb spawn. I did, and it works. Okay. I need to update a bug report. That is not great. Also, that is not my exit. Where is my exit? So whatever the cause is, it's not consistent. Not great. It might be a thing of client gets the issue and not host. I always hate those host-client bugs, and I'm sure you hate them too. But at the very least, this would explain why there's nowhere near as much noise about it, because it's not consistent. Alright, one moment chat. I need to edit a bug report.
You exist to strike. You strike to win. The lesson ends.
Alright, bug report edited. I'll let DE handle the rest on that. Hello, Cadet Doctor. Okay, so a few takeaways there. One, the charging on that was relatively quick, but I was in a high enemy density mission using basically as much gain increase as I can give, including the initial charge. And the initial charge is a big damn deal. You saw from picking up an orb and then doing further charging, I was gaining somewhere in the ballpark of 40% with the 40% bonus. And so the initial charge of 40%, can I say 40% anymore, is basically an entire orb's worth in reasonable circumstances. If the orb could get you over the 60% mark, then I would be gaining a charge every single time, and that definitely wasn't happening, and you start to run into breakpoint issues. If you can charge 50% per orb, then initial charge is pointless. Assume you do keep up the 50%, because on gaining one orb with initial charge 40%, you don't get charge. On picking up two orbs, the initial charge doesn't matter, you just hit 100%. If you gain 40% per orb, or anywhere under 50 down to 30% per orb, then this initial charge once again matters. So you get these weird breakpoints that start to occur, and those breakpoints aren't consistent because of the nature of affinity gain, enemy spawns, extra spawns, yada frickin' yada. It does make it certainly curious. And in order to get that initial charge of 40%, we've got here 12% from that, plus 2% for each mod from a unique school, which I believe includes itself. Yes, it does. Yeah, it does include itself there. So that is natively 14%. This is natively 18%. So these two together is already 32%. But then having a mod from each of the different schools add on another 8%, whilst also picking whatever bonuses you want that matches that. Ah, I see, Raptor. You never know. Maybe they delay the 69 just slightly, because Noko came out very close to Uriel, so it could be one of those little month either side things. It could line it up for you. You never know. Dr. Steep Times, I have quite a silly question. If someone were to use the Pick the Game redeem, would they have to pick a game limited to your library? No. No, they would not. Because then no one's going to click it. Great Caped Goomba, thank you very much for dropping your Prime over here once again, up onto 14 months. Much appreciated. Cheers. Yeah, Dr. Sleep Time. Let me just, let me put into perspective this for you. VIP gets rarely redeemed on this channel at 150,000 channel points. Receive a Postcard has been redeemed, I think, twice, ever? Maybe 3 times? I think it's been twice. And that's it, 250,000 spanners. Pick the Game is 88.9 million. The 3SF. Which would be a while longer. It would be a while. If I think about the typical stream, if you were to be here for every single stream and not miss out on any of the bonuses you can get 10 channel points every 5 minutes just from watching. So that's 12 lots of that an hour. And you can get 50 another every 15 minutes by clicking the little gift icon or whatever it is that pops up, which gives you an hourly passive income of 320 channel points per hour. I said hourly twice. If you are a tier 3 subscriber, you double that income, so you're getting 640. And then if we account for, let's see, yeah, 640, and then if I stream typically in the ballpark of 12, sorry, not 12, about 9 to 10 hours a week, let's say 10 hours. I do go over a bit more often than not. So let's go for 10 hours of that per week, times 10, 6,400. And if we do that for 4 weeks a month, we're now at 25,600. And on top of that, you can also get some bonuses from gifting a sub for the first time and for cheering with bits for the first time in a month. I think both of those are about 250 or 450. It's somewhere in that ballpark. You would have to you would have to check the Twitch guide on that, but it's not going to be more than 1,000 extra points. So I could just safely add on 1,000, which brings you to a monthly potential of 26,600. Not counting the bonuses you may get from watch streaks. I believe someone shared a watch streak earlier. I am incorrect. I do not see a watch streak. Oh wait, there it is. Squirbo watch streak. They gave themselves another 450 spanners right there. So let's say you get a 450 for every single one of those streams, and in a month that's going to be 12 streams. We're now up to 32,000 spanners gained. You see what kind of ballpark we're in here. So in order to get 88,888,888 divided by that current 32,000 spanners per month would only take 2,778 months. Or 231 years. It is entirely there as a joke. You could potentially, maybe, stack together various bits from various, what's it, predictions, and if you gamble just perfectly against enough people willing to just throw their points into the pot repeatedly, you could maybe cut it down to around 20 years. Because going any further than that, and the balance of probability is you're just going to lose your points. And this is ignoring using those points in any way whatsoever as well. So yeah. I am not concerned about someone picking a game that's not in my library because you can't click that. It is designed as a joke. Why have I put it there? Other than that silliness, honestly couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. Do bits boost it? Do bits the first time you cheer bits in a month on this channel, you do get an increase in channel points, but it's only the first time per month. And it has to be at least 100, I believe. So, technically yes, but not in a way that'll be more significant than just watching the stream. That said, cheer with the bits anyway, because it supports the streamer you're watching. Or if you'd rather not go through the bit system with Twitch, then you can also use !tip, and that works as well. Like that. Tips don't give you channel points, but they do support the streamer. But yeah. Bits and pieces. That aside, we've gone through Razorback and also quickly tested a bug before I forget to do so today. So now let's head on over to Ticker. Let's head on over to Ticker, who is here with the big old Starday's logo. Let's go to 29, why not? Hello there, Ticker. I see we brought out the pink neon lighting again.
Stardust, you made it. It would not do to stand Ticker up on this,
Oh, of course not.
of all days, your big day.
Big day, yes. We're getting married again. Yeah, I'm coming off the old piece into this. Starday's affections. So this is what we've got available to us through Stardays this year. Now you'll notice a fair chunk of it is bits and pieces I already own. That Ticker floof, be warned, is not small. It does take up a substantial amount of space in your orbiter, so do be prepared if you are considering getting those. Now maybe start with one and see how it fits before you buy more. Same goes with the wings there. They are as large as you can see behind Ticker. I realise that Ticker's just kind of going on about bits right now.
That the young Tenno Helmer is doing quite well in taking after their mother on the scaffold. Love isn't just for lovers, Stardust. It's for friends, family, your bestest.
There is a levels clip. There is indeed. Also, NoRose42 dropping their prime for the very first time. Thank you very much and welcome into the channel proper. Enjoy your lovely blue sub badge and all the other bits and pieces go along with that as well. Is rank 5 hidden because of streamer mode? Yes. Yes, it is. Yeah, I have stream mode turned on, so it does hide a number of different spoilery aspects around the game. Not all of them. At this point, I couldn't even say that it covers a majority of them, but it covers what it can cover. So this is why all of the level 5 things you see, well, most of the level 5 things with various syndicates are not visible. Yeah. We can pick up wings. Already own them, but you can pick them up if you haven't already got them. There is the Cherub palette, which I actually don't have. But I'll be honest, when it comes to colours, I'm kind of good for colours. I've got plenty of them now. Emotes, if you wish to share that with someone. And it comes with both sides, so of course you can be the other side of it if needs be. Yes. Fasten Vome with a broken heart. Gauss ready to deliver those Valentine's cards.
You'll have questions and nobody will be there to answer them. I want you to know I'm
this thing.
Stardust.
Yep. That thing. Lavos with the love potions. Love potions are a concerning item in magical considerations. When you think about it. Like, yes, let me just drug this person into appearing to show affection to me. This Lavos does not represent Lavos. That, oh god, wow, the smile on that. Oh my. Oh my, I slightly regret zooming in on that one. The skull is blushing.
That's a given. Secret to a happy life? Find the ones worth hurting for.
Okay. Yeah, that's... Yeah. We're going to move on from that one as well. You can get an arrow skin. It turns the arrows into an arrow of a skin.
We've got two families.
We've got your access to the Snipertron.
Roki taught me
If you want to
that
grab
one.
that weapon there, because you can't grab it from the market, if I recall correctly. Ignis Wraith, which you can grab through gameplay, but you can also grab here. Or you can grab from Barrow. Any of the options are available to you. Actually, isn't it also available in... Is it available in Clan Dodos now, or is it... No, I think they made it where it was
Spotted Biz and the duck boarding her
Railjack, Barrow, here,
I guess they
and then those
celebrate
very
today in
specific
their own
clans
way.
back in the day.
Lots of history, those two. They'll work it out.
Nova apparently hitting on a Grenier. We have Yarali and a Swirl of Hearts. Honestly, one of the more
She's made mistakes and her demons allow.
peacefully simple one so far.
I try to dazzle them with love. Millions are alive today because
As we're saying, it's at Dojo, you just have to rank up clan.
believe in.
Okay.
We don't often see
I'll have to double check.
things
It's been a while
as
since I've
they
cared about the
are,
Ignis Wraith.
so much as we are.
We got Ordis with a bundle of roses in a heart shape.
It's a ticket
Aw.
tradition. Begun for just one special person.
There is an Exultra skin.
I give it to the world.
Exactly
If you want to know the
crazy good.
story,
Also, I hate
you'll
this
find it
diorama way of
scattered
looking at
across
skins,
the
but it is what it is.
Today is two happier days.
Skiajati Solstice skin. It's on the other side of Lavos. Give it a moment. The Kuva Solstice cloak. This diorama we can spin around for reasons.
Be brave with that heart of yours, Stardust. At the end of the day,
Frostfall
those we
Ephemera
love
once again
are what
returns.
matters. Don't leave
Never found a
things
good use for that one. It's always seems a little too much, I'll be honest. You get a Revenant in action glyph, and there's a few other in action glyphs. You got Protea, Zaku, going on there. We got some more Stardust glyphs. This one we've got a Jaya,
I long for those
a
who sang songs
somewhat chubby silly Kavat. That is a surprising amount of chub on that chubby Kavat. It's almost giving me Alice in Wonderland vibes. Genuinely. Is anyone else getting that impression looking at this one?
The only family that extraordinary creatures such as we are permitted is the family whom we choose. And a fine family that is. Here's to us, Stardust.
Sarday's ticker glyph. Well, of course, the holographic style to the heart there. It's giving you Garfield vibes. I can see that too. I can see that. And then there's a few monotone glyphs of various frames. You can get monotone Ember, Calevo. That is a nice
I'm
monotone,
sure
by the
you'll
way.
be pleased to know that the
That is a
young
nice
Tenno
one.
Helena is doing quite well and taking
Mesa,
after their mother on the
Octavia,
scaffolds.
Rhino, Styanax. Also comes out really well, that one. And Zaku. Yeah, the Calevo one wins, I'll be honest. Out of the colour combos, the others, white on colour, works.
The only
But
family that
this,
extraordinary creatures such as we are permitted.
That
the
is a good one.
family whom we choose. And a
there
fine
is a
family that
Dual
is.
Swords
Here's to us,
Stavicus skin.
Stardust.
Oh. Necaric statue. I already have two of them. Two is plenty sufficient. You can get yourself a Servalite Pat glyph. We also have a Pat emote here in the channel. You can't miss
I was
those.
never much one for
Actually, we
looks or
technically
physique.
have 3 Pat emotes here in the channel.
For those
I realise now.
songs
Don't know when we got to 3, but we have 3 of them.
falling into the
There we
arms
are.
of someone like that. A girl feels like she's getting
Sarday's Corvex Heart Glyph. I'll be quite honest, on first glance, this made me think Murex Heart Glyph, not Corvex. But I see it. I see it.
I have loved, and I have lost.
Definitely saw Murex first.
Their absence has gone through me.
You can
like
grab
thread.
Starday's for each of the
Someone once said,
original Protos.
all that I
This from
do
last year's
stitched with
batch.
their colour.
They don't all have A on them, it's just the first 3 happen to start with A. Then it's Alpha, Letty, Q for Quincy, and E for Eleanor. Why Eleanor
Words and deeds are
ends up
seed, Stardust.
after
They may
these two? It
seem
looks like
nothing in the moment.
we're kind of trying for
you
an
and begin
alphabetical and then we
growing
don't. I don't know what's
Fortuna
happening there.
used to be barren, is what I'm saying. given us an orchard. Happy
Twins didn't want to be stood next to each other, I guess. I don't know. You can grab yourself some gene masking kits. Changing up the appearances of your companions, and it also comes with a skin for them. Honestly, not a terrible one. Bringing the Tales of Fury back to the Origin system with this kick set skin for your Kavat. You know what, Sada, we'll grab that one. We'll grab that. You grab the Arc Assault and shoulder guards, chest piece, knee guards, all those available as standard. Farbreeze green, yeah. Not Fabreeze, Farbreeze. There's another R in there. And then you got a few more Solstice skins: Boltor, Cantera, Paris. And finally, tucked away at the bottom here, these shiny new additions. Have a look at those. These are Study's circle frame displays. So if I understand correctly, these are displays you can place in your orbiter, and because they have a transparent middle, you can basically use it to frame whatever you got displayed in your orbiter. So whether it be something that better suits having a square or having the circle frame to it, you can go ahead and do that. They are single use, so you'll need to buy more than one if you want to have a litany of them around. But let's see how that looks, honestly. Let's grab one of each and see how they look for a moment.
Happy Star Day. I'll be here.
You show for our glyphs and Warframe icons in mission. I get what you mean on that. Okay, you can get the borders of like Steam and so. But yeah, we could go. There it is. Nope. No! What do you mean not enough capacity? All right, the eggs. We need to remove some eggs. That hopefully is enough. And another egg. Why do I have so many eggs? I don't know. Why do I have so many eggs? Is there anyone here who would like to own up to why I have so many eggs? God damn, how little space? I'm sorry. It has to be done. Okay, so. There we are. I mean, if that doesn't work well.
Here's to you, anonymous troublemaker.
That was made for that spot, wasn't it? Uh-oh. Problems. Hold on. We need to switch to... There we are. I don't know why that, now looking at it, is also tilted, but... Ah, this damn wall. Okay, you know what? That's fine now. You can't... Okay, I can do this. Ah! I immediately did not. Okay, look. Should hug the wall. Why you not hug the wall? But you know what? What if I grab that and move it? So, and we... Why? I just selected you! Why would you do that? I'm good. I'm cool. I'm fine. I didn't even realize the other one was upside down, actually. I just... you there. Then you... Mother... Crash out. Not gonna crash out. What's right way up on this? I don't even know anymore. I mean, that looks right. I know it's not technically right way up, but wait. No, no. Just need to deal with the fact that is behind it. No! Okay. Have to do this the hard way. Fuck. I wanna... Do I have the means to rotate my camera around this? Holding it in place. What's the button for that? Where's the button for that one? Let's just line that up there. I think that is line up that way. We're out. You're in the wrong spot, but we can work with this. Or we move it over here. We just need to fix that rotation. And now it's in front of it. What is going to just stay? Oh, constrain movement. Then I only move while I use keybinds. Okay. I'm hearing what y'all are saying. I saw that, but also... Does constrained movements only pop up whilst I'm mousing over something, but not having it selected? Is that what you're telling me? Yes. Okay, right. That's... dumb. Test it on the neck. Oh, so then I'd move it with the keyboard. Okay. It's different, but fair enough. Yeah. It is weird how it's a separate selection option. I was looking for constraint boot when someone just said it, but like, it just wasn't on the screen. Okay. But that should sit well enough in there, and doesn't that just look pretty? Now it's all lined up. We don't get any weird parallax with it. Nope. No, it's not good enough. Nope. Now I know I've got these options. Let's go constrained movement. I love how we've got the green, red, and blue arrows. Do you think it'll tell me which one is which? On the constraint placement, is move X the red one or the blue one? Hold down button without moving mouse to light up the arrow. Okay. So we're saying that blue, which is rotation axis yaw, which axis is yaw? That didn't give me the answer, that just gave me a different question. I'm just gonna have to press a button and hope. How bad could it go? So, let's try R. Oh, wait, hang on. Holding that doesn't move it. Holding that just activates it. Right. Okay. I understand what Dr. Sleep Time means now. Hold down that button, unless I'm holding the wrong thing, it seems. Yeah. I always thought you meant hold down the right click button. Because without moving the mouse, but now we are. Okay, so with constrained movement, I know I want to be here. I know I want to be moving on the Z. I just wait. What? I don't want to be holding Z. Z is what I'm moving. X is what I'm pressing. X moves Z. To move X, press R. To move Z, press X. And Z changes the transform that we're using the RFX XYZ on. I'm going to move my camera so you can really appreciate the list of options here. If you think Z, press X. If you think X, press R. And if you want to change how R, X, and F move, press Z. Sorry, if you want to change how X, Y, and Z move, press Z. See, would have been better. Certainly would have been a choice, yeah. Consider we have to press a specific keybind to get into this menu. Choices were made. Video games and default key bindings. The more things change. Well, they stay the same. Okay, so I want to be moving this thing that I'm currently holding in the Z direction, which means I need to be holding X. I'm moving my mouse and nothing is happening. Motherfucker. R for constrained movement. Looking at the thing, I wish to move Z, that is X. There we go. And apparently... Why is it when I move it a bit, it then stops being movable? Who the fuck said click and drag the arrow? Alice? Stop. So, trying again. Movement. To move on Z. Nothing's happening. I'm moving the mouse. Mouse is not moving. Mouse moves there. Good. Mouse move there? No. Despite that being the angle I would like to be able to move from. I can move the other... Bruh, now two of them are stuck. Is there an undo button? There is. Okay. They're staying right there. That is where they stay now. come on! I want to be sticks, but... Okay, there was the other one, which I suppose we could demonstrate at least passingly here, which is... Oh, never mind, we're not demonstrating it. Okay, cool. Right then, we're good. Ah, dear. I'm seeing I may have to clip it into the wall, which I can do via rotating it by 50 degrees, transforming it to local, and moving it in the wall. I have not got the patience to mess with decorations to that extent. I just wanted to put my glyph on the wall with the ring around it. Also, I have been playing far too much EVE Online, apparently, because Versalco's comments of try local and world coordinates collide easier, I misread as try local, as in referencing for some reason try local chat, following on from Alsu's undock and warp to save, and then world coordinates collide easier, I read as world collide is easier. And I don't remember it being a particularly difficult level 4 mission, but there we can go. So, not only am I incapable of just putting a thing on a wall, I also have massively misinterpreted comments today. This is going well. Oh, this is going to be a good day, isn't it? Oh, dear, dear, dear. Assume you can't move the glyph back because the ring is behind it, acting like a ball. I think you mean a wall. Okay. Well, let me... One last try. I'm going to grab one of them at a time and see if I can move them back. Can I move you back? That is, hold X to use Z. It can't move back or forwards. And if I select the other one... Not moving. Yep, neither of them can move. There is a possibility I've lined them up so closely that they're now stuck forever. And to be honest, I'm not going to go through the hassle of trying to fix that if I take one out. So, yeah, it's done. That is going to stay there for the next 5 years. That's just it. No, please do not send a video explaining it. I'm not going to mess with that further. There is every chance it will only end up infuriating me more, and let's be honest, that doesn't make for the best of content here, does it? There are plenty of people who watch rage streamers. Those people are not on this stream. Y'all didn't come here for me to rage at you. Oh. Pass. Right. Let's see what else is going on over here. We have an inbox message from Alsu. It is... Don't you dare. The egg collection grows. Evidently I've run out of space for eggs over there, so you know what, let's just start an egg collection over here as well then. Yes. The Conclave terminal. I forgot I moved this out here. Well, this is the perfect place to put some eggs. Here we are. Right. I have 18 spare eggs to give you. I'm just gonna kinda surround it. There we are. Get egged, idiot. I didn't delete the Conclave terminal? No, I needed it somewhere. There. I do not need more eggs. I am good, thank you, on the eggs. I have an excellent supply. So yes. Conclave has now been egged. You can add that to the list of brand new things said on this channel. Right. The other thing today, which is no doubt going to take the majority of my concern, is primary Debilitate, which I have not fully ranked up, and I need to get some more arcane support. Let's go attend to that real quick. Hit. Well, that's slightly horrifying to look at.
Well done, lads. Well done. I dare say.
Away from Fibonacci. Sure, let's swap. Operator again. You there,
Which is
Rose?
worse?
You annoying.
One is
So-and-so.
amusing to rile up, but incapable of reason.
Let's
The
see.
other,
Debilitate.
madder than a
I
bag
need
of
15 of
kebabs, but at
those.
least he
I
has
can
brain
more than
twixt
easily
his
afford it.
ears.
Yay!
Have somewhere better
Seriously, the
to go.
arcanes are so cheap. So cheap. Could you imagine if the arcanes you could get from, say, Tiana Pass were that accessible? God. Oh well, one can dream. Right then, primary Debilitate, upgrade to maximum tier in one go. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. And so, why am I on about this arcane today? Well, I'm blocking part of the description, but you can kind of infer what it's going to be from the one above. If an enemy has 10 stacks of a combined status effect, inflicting the same status effect again has a 100% chance to inflict one of the base status effects it is composed of. So, if you need further explanation, basically if you were to apply a radiation proc to someone who's already at 10 radiation procs, then instead you will apply either a heat or electric proc, rather than a 11th failed radiation proc. Which is definitely better than having the proc do nothing. 11 radiation procs isn't a thing, so yeah, that would be nice. My curiosity is in how this works across the various procs, and then how valuable it actually is to us. I've done some napkin math before now as to the use of primary Debilitate, and so far it's not been holding up, but we can look beyond so far and napkin math level stuff. Alistair saying Tentaclaxon was first thought for this arcane. I can certainly see why. I can see that. It's a weapon with a bunch of status output and 1 or 2 innate status effects, which is not very many of them, especially as you can get a combined type on there, which can then be split down. I can see the value coming straight off of that. Mono-typed items, like the Alternox, probably fare even better. Especially projectile weapons like the Alternox, which has multiplicative scaling from Galvanized Aptitude, which is also particularly relevant. But let's start on the basic side of things. Let's start on the weapons which I know are not going to be great with it, and we can compare it up from there. And a good place to start with that, honestly, is Burst and Prime Incarnate. Because Burst and Prime Incarnate does not want to lean into that direction realistically. If I were to take Primary Deadhead off of here and swap it out for that Primary Debilitate on this current setup, which has no bonus to pure damage otherwise, kind of a weakness, we've been missing out on not quite 80% of our damage. Yeah. From Mr. I'll say, if you have green Archon Shards, does Corrosive add an 11th stack and a Toxin or Electric, or does it cap Corrosive again? Oh, that's a very good question. You know what? I can actually test that right now. I'm going to test that immediately, because that is a very salient point. I don't know what this build was, so I'm going to break it. It's gone now. There we go. Debilitate, Toxin, Status chance. Might as well also put on, let's grab that. Might as well put on the electric again. Where did it go? High voltage. And more status chance, please. Rifle aptitude. There we go. Hella status. And let's slap... actually, considering fire rate... let's go lower status, slow down the rate of procs. It's still going to be pretty high. Can I slow down the fire rate more? I could throw on critical delay. There we are. To slow down the fire rate a bit. And let's take off my companion for now. To slow down the fire rate a bit. Because we want to be able to see it happening. Whichever option it goes for. I've got +6 stacks of corrosive. Let's go give it a try.
You are a true
Let's see what
hunter.
happens.
Where would the sanctuary be without you?
I have a follow-up question depending on what happens. Hello there, Phantom Storm, popping on in, saying, one of my favourite Warframe YouTubers, love your content so much. Well, thank you. Glad you appreciate it. Hope you enjoy the stream as well. Alright, let's grab one Exo Gokstad officer. We love bullying them. Hi there. I am curious what is going to happen here. Ooh. Ooh, that is not the result I expected. Okay. So we've gone past 10 procs. I've got to full arm strip, but also the other statuses were being applied before I got to my new cap. Tenth one and an electric proc, 11th and an electric proc, 12th and an electric proc, and it seems to be an and right from the 10th. Ooh, that is not the result I expected in the slightest there. And so now if I just hold the beam down, I'm at 20... Yeah, it's holding steady at about 20-ish of the electric and toxin procs, because I can apply, I guess, about 40-ish status per second. So it's an and, not an... not a replacement effect. Okay. The other curious note there is that it kicks in on the 10th proc, not once you've reached 10 procs. So this is either slightly incorrectly worded or slightly incorrectly coded. I'm not going to care too much about the whys, more about the whats. So, it's electric gun, whats. Let's replace that toxin there with heat and give us radiation. I want to see, on the 10th rad proc, does it instantly give us heat or electric? You see, I can only add a bit at a time here. I know. Instantly on the 10th, we got electric proc. Instantly. So yeah, it's not if it's at 10, it's if you would strike it up to 10th. Okay. Not just a corrosive thing, happened on the radiation as well there. It couldn't have gone to 11 radiations, but I was being very careful to only apply one proc at a time there. We can try it another way thanks to the power that is Lavos. So let's just swap to another weapon to really verify this. Let's go with something lower down that I don't mind just messing around with for now. AX52. I don't get a lot of use out of you. No, wait, do you do... No, yeah, you're fine, you're fine. We don't get a lot of use out of this, so let's grab Debilitate. There we go. Little rapid. Do I have something... Hold on. Slower but not too slow. Weaker but not too weak. while still being a primary. So it's proving to be quite the thing to dig for. Magazines, terrible on that. I can get that fire rate down. Yeah, we use the like. Oh, I need to. Whatever, I'll just slap an adapter on it. I don't care. For science. If I really want them to fix Mutus Quanta, seems to have been bugged for a while, and you can't shoot through the bubbles. Certainly, yeah. If there's a bug ruining the weapon for you, I can see why you'd want that fixed. Have you reported that bug on the forums? There we go. Let's get the fire rate nice and low. Yep, I can tap that properly. Okay, so I need to switch levels build. There we go. Radiation acquired. So let's test this very carefully. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and instant heat. Yeah. Radiation just run out. Let's get some more of that. Yeah, it's consistent. Okay, that's cool. Someone asked about blast. Give that a whirl. Let's wait for the radiations to go, and then I'm just going to open fire and see if we do get a heat or cold proc. I might need to be a little bit faster, actually. We did get a cold proc. We did get a cold proc. Oh, blast ran out. Yep. Yep. You do need to reach the 10 proc for it to happen, but yes, indeed, it does give you heat and cold. Heat or cold on that 10th blast proc prior to the blast actually exploding. I say prior to. That's not necessarily... Well, blast can't crit. And the heat wouldn't have taken off any armor in that time, so it's irrelevant. Irrelevant. Okay. But then... I mean, we don't really need to test gas. It should just work as is. I'm going to test anyway. Yeah. Precisely as expected, honestly. I appear to be applying... Oh, I'm not applying more heat than toxin. Heat self-refreshes. Right, yeah. Yeah. Good old heat inherit level stuff. Okay. So now we have a good handle on the mechanics of this. If you would bring an enemy to 10 or more stacks of a combined status effect, you also then apply one of the ones it's composed of. It does appear to be fairly random between the two, and it just applies it. Even if you would then wipe off the status effect, such as in the case of blast, if you would be capped, such as in the case of gas, or if you would be uncapped, such as in the case of corrosive, it doesn't replace the status effect, it gives you an extra one. That is nice. Duxel said, I'm wondering if the elemental mods amp up the damage of separated heat, electric, and toxin. It certainly should, and we can verify that. So, in order to verify that, let's continue with this setup here. What we'll do is we'll equip some gas modding. There we go. Do we go? Yeah, we'll equip gas modding. So, with gas procs, they deal 50% of the base damage per second. as their gas tick, and it's unaffected by modding, because we don't use gas mods, we use combined mods. If the heat proc is similarly affected, then we I'll need to use against an armor target, but yeah. If the heat proc is similarly unaffected, then we'd see the same damage tick. If, however, it is affected by mods, then we'd see a higher heat damage tick than we do for the gas. So that is the test there. What damage tick do we get? Is it higher or lower? I need to test against an unarmored foe that is not weak to any of these types, which I believe we can use a shuffling fragment for. Resistant to viral, we're not using that. Vulnerable to electric radiation, we're not using that. That'll be ideal. What happened with Blast Debilitate? On hitting 10 proc, heat or cold was applied, and then the 10 blasts exploded. So, no bonus from Lavos at the moment here, other than status duration, which is helpful for the test. I just want to see, first gas proc coming in, we're doing a 17 damage tick. The gas is 17 with this setup. Let's extend my status duration considerably to allow us to continue the test. Let's see here, that is really high duration, there we go. Let's just verify once again, make sure I've not changed the circumstances. That was a crit for 25. Okay, so 17 and 25? Let's try for a 17 again, once this one expires, which is going to take a moment. I'm going to grab a notepad whilst I'm doing this. So, crit proc 25, non-crit proc is 17, yeah. God, the crit damage on this is terrible unmodded. From Detroxer saying, is it better to have an element on a Toad Riven instead of the common crit damage, crit chance, and multi-shot? Depends on the rest of your build, run the numbers. It's the only good answer I can give you. Because without running the numbers and without knowing the build, the circumstance, neither answer is strictly correct. You have to know your build. Okay. Let's see if I can get this to get 10 gas procs without using any other bonuses. There we go. That applied a toxin. I'm seeing a toxin tick of 39? Okay. I've got a 60% mod equipped. Did I perhaps land a crit that caused a toxin? Because 25 times 1.6 would be 40, basically 39. I must have landed a crit on that last one. But let's retest that. Oh, reloading, not useful. But... there we go. Okay, we got the heat to trigger, just one heat. Heat is again at 39. I think I bloody crit again. Let's just wait for all those procs to clean out and we'll try again. Can you kind of not be up here? Whatever. Looking this side. Let's just knock it down again. There we are. Procs have cleared of everything but the puncture. Puncture is fine. Come on, 10th proc. There it is. 10th proc toxin. Toxin, I'm now seeing a 26. And again, if I take that 17 and it was base times 1.6, gives me 27. I can guess that the 17 is rounded up in our favor. If the 17 was under the hood of 16.5 times 1.6, gives us 26.4. So yeah, it can be within that ballpark. We are probably just dealing with rounded. So yes, elemental modding does appear to have that effect. We can now prove the inverse of this by removing that modding and instead using a gas infusion. I don't have gas. By using a... switch mode. by using a gas infusion on this lab boss. There we are. Okay. Single hit there. We're doing 50 per tick. Okay. Stop, drop, and roll. Did it really just do that? It really just did a stop, drop, and roll. Fair enough then. Okay. But that was too quick for me to see what was going on because it also panicked the fuck out. Let's try that again. Yeah, 50 on the proc. There we go. So we got 17, which is what we got base with the gas previously. And 17 tripled is 51. We know it's not actually quite 17, it's a little bit below. Hence the 50 we saw. So yes, elemental modding is having the expected effects on those procs. Good. Alright. Very, very good. So far, it is working near enough as expected, aside from the proc starting one stack sooner, which is just a benefit, so we don't mind that. So now we need to get into the weeds of this. When is this really that good? I think the best starting point is probably going to be the Ultinox Prime. It's a weapon I recently absolutely dunked on, I'll be quite honest. But if we start with Ultinox here, let's go with a damage focus setup. Now with primary Bulwark in its place, let's say that Bulwark's not accessible for a lot of people. Excuse me. Let's compare it to Deadhead, assuming body shots, yet magically we've got the headshot kills. Let's go with something like that. I might as well just say merciless and say we're just keeping up with the kill rate. That works too. So here's our comparison point. We've got primary merciless as our pure damage sensor here, multiplying with the pure damage we get from galvanized aptitude. So let's consider that as our point here. In terms of its damage, we can ignore the secondary fire mode, it's pretty pants. Even if you did want to use it, the status output is not really anything to write home about, certainly for something that triggers once per second and has no multi-shot bonus. So we could just ignore the secondary fire, it's just the automatic we care about. Let's bring the notepad on to screen here. There we go. Right then. I don't want to bury too many of the stats, but I should be able to get away with doing it like this. So, we don't need to worry about the exact numbers of the weapon. We can more focus on the bonuses involved and see how they kind of come together. But of the values that we do care about, the fire rate is the big one. And at the moment, I think I have my companion de-equipped. So let's compare it with the companion, just to be as fair as I can to usable circumstance. So yeah, fire rate should be 7.47, crit should be 6 times. Everyone okay with those numbers? Have I done anything wrong so far, or are we happy to go with that? From this basis then, we have pure damage on this build of 4.6, because that is primary merciless for 360%, base damage for 100%, it's 460%. We have aptitude innately 2 procs. That's because we've got electric and magnetic, so that's all it can scale off of that. And aptitude is, I believe, 80% per proc. I am correct. So that is 160% or 2.6 times. So from a simple damage basis, this gives us let's see here, 4.6, 2.6. Gives our output sitting at 11.96 times overall. That is what that comes to there. So double equals for grand total of effects. If you were to drop primary merciless, the first thing that occurs to me is you'd probably want to then drop something else in here to enable it to take serration as a pure damage bonus you'd want to force in elsewise. I know you can get pure damage from, I think Chroma is the big one. think it is just Chroma. No, there's Limbo's Rift Torrent, so there's a couple places where you can get pure damage also added in elsewise, but mostly it's going to be Serration. You could also argue for a Warframe Arcane, but they're pretty weak. The cost. Quickly from Flashpoint saying, I know it might seem like it should be obvious after you're done with the simple math, but does Debilitate count different combined status effects? Say 5 gas and 5 rad. I don't see why it would, but we can check that in a moment. Mirage's Eclipse isn't pure damage, if I understand it. No, it's definitely not pure damage. It's multiplicative. This is part of... Wait, no, that changed, didn't it? Did it? No, they changed it and then they changed it again, didn't they? Shit. Got made additive, and then there was uproar, and then they unmade it additive, didn't they? Or they suggested they could make it that way, and people said that's crap. Octavia's amp. Y'all, help me out here. Let's not suggest things. Let's wiki things. Eclipse. Damage buff is a unique multiplier. Right, multiplicative doesn't count. Irrelevant. Amp. Ability. Damage bonus. Amp's damage buff stacks additively with Serration. Amp qualifies. Alright, cool. So yeah, there are a couple sources. Not many, but there are, yeah. Zom, why did you wait an hour to send that message? Octavia dub. I mean, it's technically a negative in this case, but go for it. Additive bonuses are technically negatives compared to being multiplicative. Technically. You forgot to hit send. Amazing, Zom. Amazing. Fair enough. Okay, so... would one drop here? I suppose technically you could drop the magnetic capacity for Serration and turn Stormbringer into cold. You cryo rounds. That would give you pure magnetic rather than electromagnetic. So you'd still have access to the magnetic to do the split with. But I feel like it's just losing a spot there. Other choice would be to drop... You could drop Critical Delay, gaining some fire rate, losing some crit. You still have plenty of crit from Galvanized Scope, technically, theoretically, hopefully. Ignore the headshot demands at the moment. Yeah, I think... let's run the numbers based on bladed rounds out first, and take it from there. That means I'm going to need to calculate how much effect we're getting from bladed rounds in the first place. Galvanized Scope in full effect is going to give us 320% critical chance, which atop the fact that critical delay has already brought us to a base 300%, we can near enough just double that and add a bit. That would be 124% crit chance. This is now a subtitle. Pure and apt damage. So we then have crit, 124% at 6 times multiplier. Which means then total for our pure damage, aptitude damage, and crits included, we get 11.96 multiplied by, on average, 1 plus 1.24 times 6 minus 1, that is your critical bonus, which gives us our working modifier here of 86.112. Is our working bonus on that setup. So that's what I currently have on screen there. of the bits we're working with to modify. Adam Alec, cheers. So this is Merciless plus crit delay. The alternative option then is Debilitate plus Serration. Our pure damage bonus has changed to 2.65 times because Serration is 165%. Aptitude, innately. With just that change, we'd still be on electromagnetic. Electric is electric is electric, it's still just there. Technically, we could switch the magnetic to radiation. So let's say that as well, actually. I'm just going to put rad mod. Can't bother to figure out which one it is right now. So, aptitude innately on that, we'd have radiation, electric. Oh, it still gives us electric. Pointless change. Removing it. I was thinking, oh yeah, they'll give us 2 procs. No, it doesn't. No change. Okay. So yeah. Electric, magnetic, cold. 3 procs. We can go further, but we're not doing that right now. So 3 procs, which gives us an effect of 240%. That's 3.4 times. Which gives us now 2.65 times 3.4. 9.01. Already that's lower. So that's not good. And then if we consider the crit now we've taken out crit delay, which means we're taking out 40% of our critical chance. We're at 84% at our 6 times. We know this is not going to go the way the buffs would want it to. 9.01 multiplied by 1 plus 0.84 times 5, I'm not going to write it out fully, is now a devastating 46.85. Is there an extra sig figure that I've looked? 852. Nearly halved the damage by doing that. So that's not good. That is not good. But this aptitude bonus can go higher. And the critical bonus is based on galvanized scope, which you may not wish to rely on. So we can look at that from a different angle. To an extent. Let's... Let's reconsider this in a different kind of build. What if the build, instead of using galvanized scope, we had viral from cold toxin, magnetic from magnetic capacity, and we keep the electric from the weapon itself, using that innate type. That would give us electric, viral, magnetic. We lose out on some crits. We can use this as a comparison point, and then in lose out on that crit, what we can do is we take off, make bladed rounds our flex slot. Actually, we don't even need to worry about flexing it. Let's just compare these values, how they come together here. Now, bearing in mind that whilst the current build on screen doesn't have viral built in, you can get viral from other sources in general, which covers you for just the damage bonus. So I'm not going to fret over, ooh, but viral blocks more damage just yet. Gone are the days of worrying about trying to get that from other sources. It's really easy to do so. So in an electric, viral, magnetic setup, where I also need to have Serration in there somewhere. Let's have Serration replace bladed rounds. So we have pure damage bonus of, again, 2.65 times. Aptitude innate. We now have electric, cold, toxin, viral, magnetic for 5 procs. Which is effectively a full bonus of 5 times. Is this even going to come close to what we need? I don't think it is. So our pure damage and aptitude damage is now 13.25. It's a little higher than the Merciless crit delay. Crit is going to be a simple 60%. And crit damage, if we're taking out bladed rounds for serration, bladed rounds isn't showing in the arsenal. I've done those numbers incorrectly up here. Bladed rounds would bring this to... I think this is a 2.2 base? Yeah. So that's 4.84. Oops. I've been missing out on a little bit of the crit damage here, so... Yeah, that should be 2.64 higher. My bad. Plus the other 0.4 that's hidden in there. My bad. Let's just rerun that number there. I would like to be precise about this. Oop, don't do that. 125.86. I'm going to stick to 5 significant figures on that. Do the same down here. Yo. Yo. We go 67.135. Yeah, still about half. That's good. Okay. Salvatore Researcher saying it needs unusually too much external vital parts though, like viral is mandatory here, not a H booster. Sorry, Salvatore. What exactly are you referring to, please? Because at this point, I don't know which it you're referring to, and to where the viral is mandatory. I need those details, please. Okay, so back at the crits on this, which is 6.04 times. I know that more accurately. Total going through this process is 13.25 multiplied by 1 plus 0.6 times 6.04 minus 1. $53.318. That's even lower. It's got viral on the gun now, rather than a primer or companion or any other source, but it's even lower. Because you have to make trades to get it on there. Here's Stu. I was like, what other bits do you start taking off this weapon? How much else do we strip out to try and make Debilitate work? Oh, okay, Salvatore. So you're not saying viral is mandatory here to this build or the setup or whatnot. You're saying viral is mandatory from your perspective of trying to make the Ultinox deal enough damage at the level of content that you were wanting to take it to. Which, fair enough, completely valid observation, except it's separate from the builds. Viral can be obtained from a variety of different circumstances, and so the presence of viral is kind of immaterial. It is more a comparison to how effective is the gun with what is able to bring, separate from what can be brought elsewhere. It's teasing apart where are the moving parts to then what work do you need to do to shore it up. What assumptions do you have to start tearing out? But yes, the point that you make there that the Ultinox Prime is a bit mid, yeah. No one's debating that. No one at all. Okay. This setup down here is considering replacing Galvanized Scope, replacing Bladed Rounds. We've already got rid of 2 of the 4 critical mods. So if I get rid of the other 2 critical mods on here, the Critical Delay and Vital Sense, can I turn this around? And this is just considering the damage bonus. I understand that the status procs would try to bring things up, but they don't bring things up that much. Well, let's try and turn this around. So let's go, once again, the electric, viral, magnetic, and serration. We're now going to add on the radiation mod. And let's see. Yeah, viral, magnetic, radiation, accounting for Stormbringer Scope, Vital Sense Bladed Rounds. Magnetic capacity sitting where it is. Critical delay is the one that can be replaced with something. What would we replace it with? I could go for heat, but then we just have electric and heat combining into radiation again. I could swap things around so we have corrosive, and what does corrosive stack with? It's corrosive blast? Yeah, corrosive blast. Corrosive blast might be a bit difficult to sell though, because blast kind of takes itself back out of the equation. It comes back in on the next proc, so it's not that bad. Okay, let's do that. Let's do corrosive blast magnetic serration radiation setup. That is using a 3-element plus 2 combined type mod setup. Which is a total of 6 mods, including the serration, which is our 6 over here, leaving these 2 galvanized up. Yeah, that works. Okay, so pure damage bonus from serration continues to be 2.65 times. Serration is just that good. If you are skipping the primary arcane. Aptitude is now going to be working off heat, cold, electric, and toxin, because all of those are going to be available from corrosive blast. And we have corrosive and blast and magnetic and radiation. At the absolute peak, we hit 8 different status procs coming off the one gun now. 8 procs at 80% bonus per proc is 640% bonus. This is a 7.4 times. Which means 2.65 times 7.4 gives us 19.61. There we go. Which is a good solid damage bonus, but we then need to bring in the crit situation because we've cannibalized our entire crit to get there. The crit chance is down at 20% now, and the crit multiplier will be the 2.2 base and the 1.2 I'm getting from my companion. So that'll be a 3.4 times crit damage. We can't ignore crits. We can't also... we can't ignore the crit bonuses we're dropping, but we also can't ignore the base crits on the weapon. They are part of the math. So this gives us 19.61 multiplied by 1 plus 0.2 multiplied by 3.4 minus 1, which gives us a total bonus of 29.0228. I'm going to include the 6th significant figure there, and it's still not good enough. Now this is giving us corrosive procs. This is going to give us magnetic procs and blast procs, although the blast procs are going to be mostly useless. It's going to give you your heat procs from the radiation that comes in as well. All of these procs are available to us. But I want to talk about just how difficult it is to get to that point, even before we consider just how bad that damage bonus is compared to the full merciless crit approach. Hello, Mantis. Welcome on in. So, this weapon innately has... I think that's my only status bonus on here. Yeah, 40% status chance. And you get 7.4 from aptitude. So 8 status effects. Heat, cold, electric toxin, corrosive blast, magnetic, and radiation. 80% per proc. 80% times 8, 6.4. Plus the base, it's a multiplier of 7.4. Which is 640% bonus is a 7.4 times. Let me just triple check. Alternox Prime. Yeah, 40% status chance. I am right on that. Cool, cool. So we got a 40% status chance. Multiplied by the sum of our status bonuses. Aptitude is giving 80%? Yes. So 0.8. And then... it stacks twice per status type? Yes, because it stacks up to 2 times. There's one there. Stacks up to 2 times. So it was magnetic and radiation from their own mods. It'll be using... we need the status, so let's assume a 60-60... toxin, cold, and heat mod. So that's going to be a 1.8 from the 60-60 mods. No other status chance bonus of relevance in here, so it is just that. Which means... let me just put over here to make this easy for myself. 144% status chance. You always stack twice period, that's it? Yeah, it's not exactly the most usefully worded mod, is it? The plus status chance, you can read that easily. On kill, okay, yeah, when you kill something, it doesn't say on kill with this gun, it says just on kill, but it's on kill with this gun. Plus 40% direct damage per status type affecting the target for 20 seconds. You could read that as you get plus 40% direct damage per status type affecting the target you just killed. And then it just applies to your gun for that amount of time. Nope, that's not how it works. Okay, so it's plus 40% direct damage per status type affecting the target for 20 seconds. The targets you are now shooting stacks up to 2 times the 40%? No, that's also not how it works. They've tried to really condense down the information, and I respect the difficulty putting this kind of information onto a mod. But this is why games have tabs that call out for additional information that you can read when you mouse over them, or things that allow you to literally tab through it. Because this mod can be read like 4 different ways. Don't even get me started on the whole direct damage versus status damage versus AoE damage versus projectile damage. Is projectile direct, or is it only for hit scan? Turns out the answer is more complicated than yes or no. So, yeah. It's complicated. Anyway, without being distracted by rambling about Warframe. 40% status chance with the modding brings us to 144%. I think that looks correct. Yes, it is. Okay, good. So at 144% status chance, and this would be firing then without the critical delay negative. Assume we got the companion bonus. 5.33 is the base. Fire rate would be, with our bonus companion, 8.528 fire rate. And our multi-shot would be, with Galvanized Aptitude, a total of 3.3, which gives us a status output per target, on average, of 40.5, we'll just stop at 1 DP. 40.5 status per second per target. Which is a lot of status. Don't get me wrong, that is a lot of status. Plenty of status. Everyone can be happy with this amount of status. Right? status breakdown, we have corrosive applied by a 60-60 60-60 toxin mod, and the base innate 100% electric. That is 160. Not 160 damage, just 160 ratio. Blast is coming in from... I'm just going to do like that. Blast is coming in from 260-60 mods, so that's 120. We have Magnetic coming in from just its 60 mod over here. Yeah, it is 60. And we have Radiation doing the same thing. Which means that on the high end, Corrosive represents over the sum of those. Let's see, 160 plus 120 plus 120. 2, 3, 400. That's 160 out of 400, which is 40%? Yes. This is 30%. And these are both 15%. No, that quite shows that this does almost less than nothing. We'll get to that boost. We'll get to non-mathematical weaknesses. Let's start with the numbers just being bad and then tear it to absolute shreds. And bearing in mind, I'm trying to use the most impacted weapon for this kind of thing. A weapon that has a singular innate damage type, despite having multiplicative damage scaling from Galvanized Aptitude, whereupon it would want a variety of status types in order to enable the maximum damage output it could achieve. So I'm working from the lowest, from the most beneficial point I can think of for primary Debilitate to get work done, versus my recently designed and tested ideal build for it using not that. So in this circumstance, we got 40 statuses per second. So with 1 second of firing on the target, taking the flat, simple averages, we'll be expecting 16.2 corrosives. We would be expecting 12.15 blast. Oopsies. And then, yeah, 6 magnetics, 6 radiations. The 6 magnetics, 6 radiation, they're going to exist, but they're not going to be particularly useful in that first second of firing because they haven't reached their 10 procs. But it also doesn't matter that they haven't reached their 10 procs because these ones have reached their 10 procs and they cover the full hate set. So what we see from the corrosive is that after about 0.6 seconds of firing, it should on average hit its 10 proc moment and start spreading out into the other procs. We'd have had on average 3 electric, 3 toxin on average, and with the blast we would have had on average 1 of either cold or heat, because despite us getting to the 10 procs, blast doesn't stay at 10 procs, it explodes itself, so we need to rebuild it. So blast is actually kind of a weaker one here, but this is the only option that allows us to cover 4 combined types. If we did viral, I know you could do viral. Yeah, no, viral is toxin cold, so that is then heat electric, so that's, yeah, rad viral. Or it'd be magnetic and gas. Either which way, we miss a combined type. So this is the only way that we can get 8 total status types out of the gun itself using gun-only modding. We would have, most likely, in 1 second, 7 procs active. In the next second, you would have about a 50% chance. It's in that ballpark. About a 50% chance, I think, of... No, wait, no. In the next second, you get the other mag radiation procs, so then you'll be guaranteed, basically, to hit the 8 procs. So you need to be firing at the same target for the entire second just to get these damage bonuses to turn on. And these damage bonuses, I reiterate, were 1/5 of the damage output, near enough, of just a straight up crit build. 1/5. Even completely armor stripping a target as far as you can with 10 corrosive procs. Yeah, 80% armor removal. I don't think fixes that. Stacking all the magnetics, if it was just against Overguard, you'd be about on par. Well, you wouldn't actually have got that enough magnetics, you wouldn't be on par. Yeah. Cypher, say, have you looked at Tenet Galaxian Prime and Debilitate? Got it. So it does viral magnetic radiation with critical A, photon charge Galaxian mod for crit damage extra utility. Justify wanting more cold status effects. Okay. Trying to figure out you'll justify wanting more cold status effects on the end there, but looking at this at the moment, I'm using Alternox as the situation here for a damage focus. Tenet Galaxian doesn't get multiplicative scaling from Galvanized Aptitude, if I recall correctly, so its damage scaling is going to be worse in comparison. Tenet Galaxian... What was that one you said? Yeah. Phenomenal Charge says more cold status enemies equals energy orbs. It's Galaxian mod. Oh yes, I recall now, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so Tenet Galaxian crit situation is it's identical actually. And its status chance is the same. Huh. What do you know? What do you know? Okay. Zom, we can have a look at that in a moment. Versalcal saying, does 144% stage chance even work with Debilitate? Wiki says this arcane will only activate once per damage instance. Oh. That is a very salient question. I think ties into Zom's question as well. Which is a problem, yes, because beams don't multi-shot. They multiply their other stats in a way that multi-shot kind of would have. So instead of getting 3 beams, if I recall correctly, you get 1 beam with 3 times the damage and 3 times the status. Am I correct on my memory of that? I think that was the case. It had weird implications for proc chance. So if the arcane can only trigger once per hit, not once per proc, then that would hard cap you on the basis of 100% per hit. Which for status hoses loses some of your dreamed status just trying to get there in the first place. Well, that just brings in a whole other kettle of issues. How can we reliably test this? I think if I do this. Yep. And status chance. Right, let's just slap all of these bastards on. And let's go with hammer shot, why not? And rifle aptitude. Yeah, whatever. Okay, 204% status chance. Beautiful. Corrosive blast. Beautiful. Kind of. No, let's swing it around. Let's go with Rad Viral. Yeah, that'll stick around. Good. And then primary debilitate. Right, this will be suitable for testing. We've got our Lavos here. Let's switch Lavos over to our evade build for the high duration to make this easier to check. Okay. You want to shoot that, don't you? Hold on. No shooty. There we go. Okay. I forgot this was up here. We had 12 procs. 14 procs. Oh, don't do that. I can't fucking read it. Alright, I need a different enemy. This one's shit. Inflating garbage. Fucking shaky. How are you supposed to even... Let's get Xmas. Xmas usually don't care, right? Okay, so we're 10 of both procs. We got 2 single procs on there. 10 of both procs. Gained 2. Gained 1. Gained 2. Gained 2. Gained 1. Gained a toxin. Yeah, but still gained 1. And we're at the point where some are beginning to expire, so that ruins the check a bit, but yeah. Yeah, okay, that's... Yeah, there was instances of gaining 1. I've got 200% status chance, so that should only happen if I landed, say, 2 viral or 2 radiation. So yeah, that does mean that you'd be losing out on some of it. You're very right. Okay, for some reason the viral doesn't want to go up fully. There we go. 5, 9, and 1. 5, 10, and 1. 6, 1, and 10. No, 6, 1, 10, 1. 6, 2, 11, 1. 7, 3, 11, 1. 7, 3, 12, 1. Yeah, no, it keeps on happening. So in that circumstance, it would be a... Yeah, if we've only got 2 status types on here, with more than 100% status chance, there is a... Yeah, if we land a 2 proc situation, there is a 1 in 2 chance that we actually just miss half the arcane's potential. Once you land 3 procs, the chance of only landing 1 type goes down, but the chance of having a wasted proc, well, 3 procs is now guaranteed. Yeah. Because you have to have a duplicate. Shit. That is a very significant discovery there. Well, it's a significant point to bring up from the wiki. You're very right to bring it. So far the arcane is rough. I knew it was rough. I didn't realize just how bad this was, to be honest with you. So, not only do you need to get to the point of applying absolute bomb loader status, but also, if you roll double corrosive or double blast, double something, the arcane only triggers half as much as it should. I'm not going to get into the weeds figuring out the chance of those circumstances. We're already looking at just how bad it is. And for all the benefits of stacking H-set on top of whatever combined types you have, the runoff downside is running against you. Now, you could, with the Corrosive Blast setup, honestly skip the Magnetic and Radiation. Maybe that is a better way of looking at this. You lose the Magnetic and Radiation procs, but you're going to get to the Corrosive Blast ones quicker. Although, again, Blast expires itself. If we drop in Mag and Rad mods, we might as well go for Rad Viral instead. With the 60-60 bot approach, we could take this whole same setup, but instead of those, it's now Rad for 160, Viral for 120, others get to fuck. And that leaves us with 160 over... Yeah, just 160 over 280 for the radiation, which is now 57%. So this is 43% for the rest of it, I guess. And then you'd have rad, viral, splitting into H set as well. And that should land a lot faster because you go up from a 40% to 57. It's nearly 50% higher. So this would be like 23 procs. And this one about 16, 17. Is Inara's health broken? Not in any way that I'm aware of. What about it? I see you got to 80,000 health max. Like, yeah, that happens. Even in that circumstance where you go for the rad viral to get there faster, sure, we're there faster, within a second, within half a second actually. Yeah, within half a second you should probably have full H set. We've still got some wasted status procs happening. That's just a thing. And your damage bonus would now be even lower because instead of this 19.61 up here, we lose 1.6 off of that. So the whole thing just comes further down. Inaris is a tank? Yes. I feel like you have just recently discovered Inaris, in which case, look forward to enjoying more of it. Inaris is definitely a tank. Inaris has a lot of health, no shields, generates their own armor to make their health even stronger, and they can have status immunity with the armor bonus. That's pretty tanky stuff. Goes amazingly with Arcane Grace. So yeah, I'll be quite honest with you, I'm looking at every which way this shakes out, and just the damage gets obliterated, and now discovering as well that you still want the higher status chance, but you reach a point where the arcane slows down its growth. That's just oof. And that's on your primary. You need to have enough status effects on target to get to the 10 procs for it to start triggering, which in the case of something like the Cedo shouldn't be happening because you should be status priming them enough to then kill them. You don't want to be spending 20 years building up procs to then cause more procs to happen to then kill them, because meanwhile the Sarin next to you is just taking out an entire corridor. Get to it. There is no award for dicking around like that. Is there a status resistant enemy I can spawn in Simulacrum? Not status immune. Not singular status like cold on Xmas. I need it to be the combined types. Is there a status resistant enemy I can spawn in Simulacrum? I don't think there is. None spring to mind. Okay. I think my easiest way of testing this then would be to take it to a status resistant enemy in a mission. Where I'm going to find one of those nice and easily. Acolyte's an obvious choice. Archons take a moment to get to. Navigate demos. Can I spawn one of those? Do they count? Necra. Well, that's not coming up. Demolish. No. That doesn't seem to be an option. And these aren't resistant in that way. Those are all a no. Okay. Is the Jackal status resistant? So I could try that. Let's try that. Lavos is on build. Let's do that. Range, let's get there quicker. I'm gonna go find out if the Jackal is status resistant or not. And then if it is, if it just turns off the weapon. Or the arcane. Keep looking over here for it. I'm hoping my damage isn't high enough to cycle straight through its stages. It's only got a bunch of 60/60, so it shouldn't be too powerful.
The Corpus have continued to refine their most
let's see.
lethal security proxy, the Jackal. Determine its location aboard this vessel and destroy it.
God damn it. How is it this week? Level... whatever. Okay. I'll just load it on Steel Path. That's fine. It shouldn't be a risk to my tank, as much as I'm not trying to survive. Hopefully, not trying will be sufficient. No, it takes status damage, you won't see it. I don't think you understand what I'm asking, but that's fine.
To refine their most lethal security proxy, the Jackal. Determine its location aboard this vessel and destroy it.
Let's pop into here. Okay. Spawn it in. Not status resistant. Okay. That one's out. Let's indeed give Zom's idea a try. We'll go for the Necmec demos. That is Armators. Yep, there we go. Got normal weapons to at least get started on stuff, so that'll be fine. If you do the dream vision, you notice. What is the dream vision? Okay then, Mama, come along, one and all. Let's grab those keys. Only need the one, hopefully. Gotta be very careful I don't do any elemental infusions. There we go, got us a key. Got us an incoming Necmec. Hi there, buddy. Yep, completely ineffective. Completely ineffective. Oh, that's bad. Okay, never mind. Crow saying, the update where you do round to unlock a Warframe. Are you referring to the circuit and asking me to go to the circuit to attempt to roll through enough times to try and get a corrupted Jackal to spawn to see if its status resistant? Whilst also not using the word circuit. Because if so, I appreciate the idea. I needed a list longer than this to put it at the bottom of that. That would be a lot of circuiting. Not to mention, I wouldn't be able to pick what items I have there, so I then have to also remod things based on what the circuit has available. So yeah. Yes, you did, Zob. You did indeed have both a functional memory and a good idea. You were correct. If anyone's got the head pat emote, I think it's time to head pat Zom. They did right. Okay, so Debilitate. Uses against targets with status caps, which applies to Acolytes, which applies to Necromech Demolishers, which applies to a lot of your hardier units, so that's already problematic. It takes time for us to get there, for it to actually activate in the first place, by which time you probably want the target dead. If you're using the primary as a status primer, then why are you wasting so much time trying to status the target? Are the other statuses not enough? And if you're not using it as a status primer, you're using it as a self-priming kill weapon, it's, again, just not quick enough for all the trade-offs you have to make to try and make those many elements happen. If you've already got various types on your gun, you're already going to get the types there, so you don't need Debilitate to do it, to be worth giving up your damage bonus. It's just in Aros, there's no G in it, please. But yes. You went to the circuit, that's how you got your Gauss and your Naros. You did also... you know what, I'm just... Yeah. May not help but a prosecutor. What about a prosecutor helps us here, Phantom Storm? Just so I understand, because I've already verified the functionality of the arcane against status caps, so why are you recommending a prosecutor? I mean, Ellie, there's other things wrong there, but don't worry about it. I can't shake the feeling that no matter which way I look at this arcane, it's just not good enough. No matter which way I try to make it work, Debilitate just ends up behind. If I pop on over to my YouTube comment section, where people really love to tell me how wrong I am about things, a surprisingly good source of humble pie to make sure I have checked every possibility, because you know if I don't mention something, someone else will mention it for me. But let's see here. Search for Debilitate. Obviously, if people don't know how to spell Debilitate, I won't be able to find their comment this way. Someone asking for a video on it. Someone saying, is it useful with this? They don't believe it is. Okay. Ultralabe, I think this, that. Nope, that's irrelevant. Ah, here we go. Perfect. This is the kind of comment that I need right now. Not the kind of comment I recommend you make. Don't be this person. Rare fail video from Kengineer. Not even a mention of primary Debilitate radiation viral build? That build can proc viral, amplifying damage by 3.25 times. It's 4.25. It's 325% bonus. Radiation that serves as damage reduction. Not that much. Cold as another damage amplifier. And 3 damaging status effects that also stun. Electric and lower armor heat. Let's take that from the top. Let's take that from the top. Radiation is a damage reduction. It's not really that much of an effect. If damage reduction from radiation was really that effective, people wouldn't be shitting on radiation the way they do. It is actually a bit pants. If you can do wide area radiation application, it can get you somewhere. But if it's single target, like the Ultinox, it ain't it. Cold is another damage amplifier. Cold procs do indeed amplify your damage. If you have a critical setup to take use of those, do bear in mind you do need to land the crits for the crit damage to come in. You get plus 0.1 increased flat critical damage on the initial proc and 0.05 per subsequent proc, up to a max of 0.45 at 9 stacks. Now, bearing in mind that my build that I've got here is 6 times critical damage before I've gotten started, bladed rounds on top is bringing it to about 8.5 times. 0.45 at maximum cold stacks on top of that, and maximum cold stacks from Debilitate requires you to have landed 30 of the combined type that gives cold, 10 to get to the 10, and then 20 to get to 10 of both both subsequent types. 30 status procs to get a 0.45 critical damage increase is almost not noteworthy. That's something you consider if you want to see, does one eke out over the other? It's not going to change the game for you. And yeah, as Cypher points out, cold is a better damage reduction since it makes the enemies shoot slower and can even freeze them. Yeah. Quickly from Mantis. Funny story, no ship lost, win check belt, saw blue wreck from Pirate and Local, there's Malice, Vagabond, both in belt, get away, come back on chat, stream, so scary. Oh yeah, no, yeah, do not mess with Malice Vagabond, can't save you from that. Good luck, Mantis. Okay, so let's continue through this then. 3 damaging status effects, that's referring to using Rad Viral to produce heat, electric, toxin. Bear in mind, if you're using a 3 elemental mod setup on the innate electric of the Ultinox, that means that the electric procs are going to get no damage bonus, and then the heat and toxin, assuming 60-60 status, because you need the status transfers to even be remotely useful, they're 60% bonused. Not exactly overwhelmingly powerful. It means that if you've got an equal bonus to radiation and viral, then having got both of those to 10 procs on a target, you now have a 1 in 4 chance for each of the non-combined elements to apply per status proc you land. One of them doing no damage, one of them doing base damage, and 2 of them doing 60% over base damage. It ain't great. You guess that's Eve? Correct, Laura, yeah. That is Eve. Can Lavos status infusion save it at all? Lavos' status infusion is amazing when he's doing his thing and not trying to make arcanes work that don't work. Is the simple truth of it. Oh sure, he gives you guaranteed status effects. What's better than guaranteed status effects of the status you don't want is to get guaranteed status effects of the status you do want, whilst amplifying that status's damage by 200%. I just... Lavos doesn't want to mince details, he just gets to it and gets it done. He keeps it practical. But yeah, they've got the mention then that electric can also stun the target. This is a target that's been rad proc to hell, and it's also been cold procced, and they're now worried about stunning it. And then they mentioned lower armor, which, yes, heat procs will reduce armor if they've been heat procced for a couple seconds. Any less time, and the armor reduction is not in full effect, to the point that the actual benefits are going to be reduced. So you need to get them to radiation proc, full 10 stacks to start applying the heat, to then wait 2 seconds to get to the full heat reduction for it to be worthwhile. But I'm still not done. I replied to this person. I see where you're coming from, but Debilitate's rainbow effect doesn't make up for other losses. Compare it to a viral electric build instead of rad viral, using Deadhead instead of Debilitate. 165% damage from Serration, which is assumed on both setups. 6 procs from Debilitate plus the weapon. Galvanize Aptitude for plus 80% damage per proc multiplicative. You get 2.65 multiplied by 5.8 from Aptitude for a 15.37 times pure damage multiplier. If you go the Deadhead approach, you've got 165% from Serration, 360% damage from Deadhead, 1.3 times headshot bonus from Deadhead, 2 procs from weapon alone, Galvanized Aptitude for 80% per proc, multiplicative. This comes out to 21.125 times. 21 versus the 15 on the other. Players comfortable in getting their initial kills can drop Serration for a different bonus, which can take it even further. This is before including companions, abilities, primal weapons to apply additional status effects, which will benefit a Deadhead setup more than Debilitate, because the Deadhead setup has 2 procs, Debilitate has 6. Each additional proc is more valuable to Deadhead by sheer proportion. And Laura, we tested that. It's not from 1 stack per game tick necessarily, it's once per damage hit. So if you land a hit which applies 2 radiation procs, Debilitate will only trigger off one of them. But if you land a hit that applies radiation and viral, both of them will trigger. Because they're 2 separate elemental effects. So it's once per proc per hit seems to be the limiting point. It's just how it is. But yeah, so like this is the best proponent I can see of Primary Debilitate. There was another one. I forgot to mention Primary Debilitate, shoots guns damage potential into the stratosphere. Put on an Ips Sentinel weapon and mod for something like Blast Corrosive to get the ball rolling. It just vaporizes everything in its path. Apparently. Can't even commit to their own comment. But that's someone saying, use Ips on a Sentinel weapon. Well, if we did that with Ultix Prime without going Debilitate, we're already at 5 procs. Debilitate can get more onto there. But again, you're trading out damage to get there. I don't think there's any way I can shake this that makes the damage remotely worthwhile. And as much as there is utility to be gained, like going, oh, this weapon easily hits max radiation, I wish I could get some heat out of it for the armor reduction, your target should be dead. If your target isn't dead, it's either a boss unit, grab the second weapon, or you're just doing it wrong, quite frankly. Enemies shouldn't have a TTK of more than a couple seconds. Because we're shooting hundreds of them. Yeah, I just can't see a use for it. I genuinely cannot see a use for Primary Debilitate, no matter how much I shake the details around. Versal so tried using Debilitate with a Cascade, you're empowered. On an Art Gun, the empowered seem to not trigger for Debilitate procs. Okay. Suspect the got for Prime passive to not trigger Debilitate either. Fair enough. On an Art Gun, I can see where there'll be the idea of maybe trying to work with it there, because you can get plenty of damage from the second Arcane. And so you got utility plus damage. But also with Art Guns, I'd expect stuff to be dead. Again. And I would rather get the pure damage from the primary, and then use something like Innovate on the secondary slot for just shitload of crit. Cypher in Galaxy is the only weapon I think of it being usable. Not pure DPS, rather utility, mod, and some damage. So, yeah, it was you who mentioned the Galaxian earlier, and that all comes down to Photon Overcharge, whereupon you're trying to self-prime the cold without having a cold modded weapon. When you could get the cold from a companion or primal weapon. So that's taking away a bunch of damage, because it is taking away damage. We've already run the numbers on that, no matter how you shake it. no matter what, Debilitate is taking away damage. So you're slowing down your ability to kill in order to, on kill or assist with this, turn it around into a little bit more energy orb. And if you're using the Galaxian as a primer, I can almost kind of see that. Yeah, I can see it if you're using the Galaxian as its primer, because it's got on assist. Alison, use it on Galaxian on Kome. That makes it easy for the affected by element challenges. Yeah. That's niche as fuck, but yeah. I can't refute that. Yeah, I know you admitted that, Cypher. I'm still just kind of coming at it from that angle of you could just get the cold elsewhere for the photon overcharge, and then it's also a more powerful self-priming weapon. Or mod it for the cold in the first place, and it also still gets there. But yeah, that use case Alice points out is about the only one I can see where it's irrefutably more effective than any other arcane I can think of. And that is niche. Allows Kome to more easily access the different elements. Kome, the frame that can throw out elements almost as good as Lavos. Why gas cold for Galaxian? Cold for photon overcharge, gas because it's a damaging proc type, using dual elements that combines with cold rather than replacing the cold. Your only other option would be radiation, which just doesn't do damage over time. And for a high status weapon, that's kind of a problem. Oh, but yeah. Yeah, that is about the only use case. I'll be quite honest, that is about the only use case. You either really want to be using Galaxian for its cold bonus without using cold, or you want to be using... You want to turn your primary weapon with all of its status output into a weird status rainbow primer for Kome's challenges. Just overlooking how Kome can do that herself. Including, if I remember correctly, isn't a passive just basically that? Yeah, every 60 seconds, one of Kome's weapons will inflict random status effects. Yeah. So she already does it. Yep, she just straight up already does it. I just can't save Debilitate. I'm probably saying use Photon, Debilitate with Blast, Magnetic Progenitor, with Blast and a Magnetic Progenitor, sorry, yep. Myself a fair bit, honestly, as much as it's definitely not optimal, it does the job in most non-boss scenarios well enough, it's a casual problem again. I mean, sure. So I understand, Ali, you're going into a mission, you're painting a target to the point you get to 10 of whichever proc, Blast or Magnetic, doesn't matter, it gets to the 10, it triggers into cold. Actually, the Blast can only do it half the time once, so it's going to have to be the Magnetic you're relying on for the cold to get enough procs on there to get the bonuses of Photon Overcharge of a 2% per cold energy orb. And if you're firing at an enemy long enough for that to be useful, I would assume you're killing them with it. I'm assuming. It is, yeah. Yes, I know the Tenet Galaxian is better with groups. I know that much. It's like I'm looking at the stats that I've got here, and I'll be honest, I don't like the look of this build. What it is what it is. From this position of 19 fire rate, 3.3 multi-shot, basically 100% status chance. That is in the ballpark of like 60 odd, 70 odd status per second. About 70 odd. Plenty status output, but yeah. Use Prime Shred and use Phenomenal Charge in place of Vital Sense. Okay, yeah. So you put Prime Shred there. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting the fire rate from my companion, but yeah. Is there a use case of primary overcharge? So I feel like the 90% requirement kills the arcane. Oh yeah, I think that arcane is terrible. Other people seem to sing its praises, but then those same people, or same number of people, are telling me Debilitate is the bee's knees. I'm just... Yeah. I'm aware, Ellie, yeah. Punch through does hit multiple enemies as well, if you can get the punch through to line up, which, yeah, many times you can. I just still find myself wondering if you couldn't just get the same results instead of having blast modding. You modded gas cold, and then you don't need Debilitate. But yeah, it was the primary... Overcharge? There it is. Not all of them, yeah. Yeah. While at or above 90% energy, so levels main I'm already yawning, gain 35% of max energy as multi-shot caps at 350%. I say I actually haven't tested it, I missed a bit earlier on. Did you test if gas resets when it procs due to Debilitate? Resets how? As in drops down procs? No, because gas doesn't do that. Blast does. Resets its damage? You're applying gas procs, so yes. Does it override the oldest proc? It should do, because it's still applying the proc. Which we verified with corrosive, because it kept on applying more and more corrosives. But yes, it should still be resetting the procs. Which means, yes, you should still get the full duration after enemy dies after the fact. Yeah, with this, it's nice to have an arcane that gives you multi-shot. It's not so nice that even at the max of 350% multi-shot, if you spend 101 energy from your 1000 max energy needed, you spend 101 energy, the arcane just... It's gone. Go get your energy back. If you're in a circumstance where you can keep your energy ultra topped up, then fair enough. But I then wonder, what circumstance do you find yourself in to be using an ultra topped up energy? Hundreds more energy than I use on the vast majority of setups. To then give yourself 350% multi-shot, which is more than the 230 you get from Galvanized Chamber, in replacement for the damage you could have in this slot. Laura saying, I feel like this was something made for art guns. I suppose, if you're going for art gun gameplay, and just don't spend your energy there instead, but... Yeah, I see what you're saying there, Ellie. Yeah, if you are reaching full blast, you'll explode on the get the target to explode, and then just do it again. So you get the effects of blast. Blast AoE and gas AoE, I think, are in the same ballpark of sizes. You work with the similar results there. They both have the same non-scaling from elemental mods. When blast explodes, I think it's... Is it 300% per proc, or is it just 300% on explosion? Hold on. Upon reaching 10 blast stacks or target dying, all current stacks will be detonated, dealing 300% weapon base damage per stack to surrounding enemies. Okay, yeah. Considering that gas deals 50% weapon damage per tick, that's doing 6 seconds of gas damage instantly. Versus gas, where if you refresh in the procs fast enough, you technically override the waiting for the next tick because you just hit them quickly straight away. But yeah. Yeah, the blast would be higher damage in that regard. And then it comes down to shaking out, okay, how often is it high enough damage to warrant not using Debilitate? But yeah, I'll be honest, yeah, looking at primary overcharge, needing to stay so topped up on energy is rough in the first place. 35% max energy as multi-shot. I mean, let's go with a simple breakdown. If you're taking off another arcane, the starting point that I measure from is very simply something like Primary Merciless. It's 360% damage, pretty much no nonsense in how you get there, so it's just a good starting point to measure. So on that alone, you'd be on 4.6 damage. And a lot of people using Primary Merciless aren't using something like Serration, or sometimes even not using Galvanized Aptitude alongside it, if it's additive. So let's use that as our bouncing point. Let's go with Galvanized Aptitude with 3 status effects on target for 240% damage. No, let's go 4 status effects. Let's be fair to it. Let's say we'll compare a Galvanized Chamber and Merciless build versus Galvanized Aptitude and Overcharge build. How much overcharge is needed for it to be more effective in terms of damage, let alone status? Where is that crossover? So let's get a new one of those. There we go. Right. So Merc plus Galvanized Chamber versus that'll be Overcharge plus Galvanized Aptitude. Merciless is 1 plus 3.6 for damage, times Chamber, 1 plus 2.3 for multi-shot. Done a space on one on not on the other. Let's just take out those. This comes out to a very simple 4.6 times 3.3, 15.18. Oopsies. There we are. Overcharge versus Galvanized Aptitude, and we're saying 4 proc. So this is going to be 1 plus to be figured out, multiplied by... Is it normal to take physical notes on Warframe? Hi, welcome to the channel, Rainbow Water. I'm the engineer. I solve practical problems here in Warframe. I am the mathematician, the stats guy, the one who dives into the details to such point that even the QA team are familiar with the kind of discoveries get sent my way from the videos. This is a game with a lot of numbers. This is how you figure out the numbers. Anyway, moving on from that, 1 plus 4, it's 80% multiplied by 4, so we'll just do it like that. At some point, this needs to be greater than 15.18. So let's solve for that. Let us solve for x. That's triggered a bunch of people, I'm sure. So we know that 1 plus x is multiplied by, that's 3.2 plus 1, so 4.2, greater than 15.18. Oops, I keep hitting the enter key today. So 1 plus x must be greater than 3.614, which means that x must be greater than 2.614. a 261.4%. And for primary overcharge, which is 35% of your max energy, we go 261.4 divided by 0.35, i.e. 35%. 261.4 divided by 0.35. 747 max energy. And must be at or above 673, because it's 672.3, so 672 wouldn't be enough. That's a hell of a lot of max energy, and you cannot be down by even 75 energy. 75 energy turns off your arcane if you've spent that much. Wonder if overcharge works with on-call crew? Probably not. And yeah, Rainbow Water, if you want to know more about the damage types and how they changed, I do have a damage type guide over on YouTube, !YouTube for the links to my channel, or !catalog if you want to head on over to my website and just leaf through the videos there. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit the mic. Leaf through the videos there, because that's usually easier than searching for videos on YouTube. It can be a bit of a pain to search at times. Ellie, that's if that one even still works, which I think it was 165. That's damage calculation, but damage calculation hasn't changed. It's enemy level scaling that has changed over the years, and damage types. And again, I'd just say go to the catalog at that point. Just go to the mechanics section. Harrow would probably be the only one. I mean, Harrow could make use of that, yeah. How much energy is Harrow with Flow? Let's see. Prime Flow, 541. It's not even enough. Primed Flow. And Harrow Prime hasn't got enough max energy. So you need to take further steps to reach the maximum energy, and then do everything you can to keep at that high energy in order to maintain a multi-shot, which in this circumstance would be equal to it. Now, this is a singular circumstance of comparison, where Merciless is not additive to anything, Chamber is not additive to anything, Overcharge is not additive to anything, Aptitude is not additive to anything, and is on only 4 procs. If you have more procs, you need less max energy, but also if you're getting loads of procs on a target, you could put Galvanized Aptitude on alongside Merciless. And if you got Aptitude alongside Merciless, you then need to compare it with yet another mod, whichever one you put on here to compare to it, and your options start getting bad quickly there. Anything you can think of as Chroma with battery? Yeah, Chroma can work with it because Chroma can give himself a huge pure damage bonus. So yes, Chroma could work there. Your Kome gets over 1k energy because you have a ton of armor, you threw on battery because... I mean... Cool. But aren't you the person who was using Debilitate on your Kome, so you're already accounted for? Or was that someone else? Nope, that was you. That was you. But yeah, if you're jumping through those hoops to get the multi-shot from Overcharge, you run into other issues in general, yeah. And don't forget, this is 261.4%. We're at 75% of the maximum power of the Arcane here. If we take it a bit further, we take it to the full power. 1 plus 3.5, maximum multi-shot on it. Multiply by, again, the 4 proc. Galvanize aptitude. Excuse me. Oh, trying to stifle hiccups. Stop. Here we are. Alright, so yeah. Maximum bonuses, maximum value, maximum capability. Where do we get to? We get to an 18.9 multiplier for our comparison point, which that versus just simple Merciless and Chamber. It's not even 25% stronger. Not even 25% stronger, and you're now invested to get to 1000 max energy. In a circumstance where you could have invested into anything else. And that's still overlooking that you can move Galvanized Aptitude onto the Merciless and whatnot bill as well. It's also overlooking Primary Deadhead, which would take this 30% higher whilst you're landing those headshots. We've already said this is not 30% higher. Now, this would be stronger for its status application. More multi-shot, more status. Can't overlook that. Status is a big part of the game. So, at this energy point, 747 max energy, and jumping through the hoop of keeping your energy above 90%, you would, let's see, you would have a little bit more status output. A little bit more. You would have 3.6 multi-shot, and therefore 3.6 multiplied to your status output versus 3.3. The sustain is basically to stop casting abilities, but if you stop casting abilities just to try and keep a bit of multi-shot up, you could have cast a buffing ability and not done this in the first place. It's demanding such energy-rich environments to not give up its abilities, or abilities which are so set and forget you wonder why you even utilized them. In combination with then needing to have enough max energy on a frame that you're now not casting with, to try and get enough multi-shot to counteract just shooting a motherfucker. So yeah, again, it feels like it's getting close to working, and once again I look at the Steel Path Arcanes where you just kind of go and it works. So well, and if you're on a weapon with multiplicative scaling from Galvanized Aptitude, it's a write-off, because multiplicative with Merciless, you just damage to the moon. Overcharge can't compete with that. It just can't. At least not for damage purposes. Yeah! Alright. I'm going to bullet detail off camera for a moment. I'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere, because we're going to be doing a giveaway the moment I get back. So, BRB. Hello once again. Sorry about that. We are back. I do see Raptor. As I went away there, you tried to redeem a ticket. Some muscle memory still kicking in, I presume. The muscle memory still kicking in. Anyway, let's get the notepad away. We don't need that anymore. Apparently we lost everything. Ah! There it is. My bad. I clicked the wrong button. Right. But we also don't need Warframe anymore now. We need to bring up the arena. Let's get that up onto here. That should go live in just a second. There it is. Alright, you wonderful, wonderful people. Let's open up the drawer. We're doing a 75 plant giveaway. Let's get my camera out of the way. Don't need me in the way. Exclamation mark enter in the chat for a chance to win 75 platinum. Doesn't matter if you're on PC, Xbox, PlayStation, Switch, or on mobile. It doesn't matter if this is your first time here or if you've been here for years and years, because I've been streaming for years and years. Oh, there we go. There's the swarm. Had a couple early plays, and now here we go. Oh, there was a swarm. Exclamation mark enter in the chat for a chance to win that 75 plat. And say this is provided by DE. They send it out in batches every couple of weeks. So thank you very much, DE, for providing this to the community here. It's very generous of them. Yeah, this is shout out to all y'all lurkers out there. I see we got 100 people here and we got 29 entries. So there's plenty more of you that can join in. And let's face it, if you don't enter, then you've got 0 chance of winning. I'll give you all a moment to enter in on that. Exclamation mark enter for a chance to win 75 platinum. And whilst we are at it, we use the simple IGN system on this. So if you've not provided your IGN before now to these giveaways, then exclamation mark IGN in the chat, as well as your Warframe username and platform. So like I'd put exclamation mark IGN, the Kengineer, PC, and that would record it for all future giveaways on this channel. You only have to do it the once. That makes things very streamlined here. Yeah, Saturday, that was absolutely perfect. That's been set up as needed. Assuming you are on PC. And yeah, if you are on a different platform from PC, the bot does let you know for all platforms, hey, you said you were on such and such platform. If you have crossplay enabled, please redo the command with PC. Just because the way DE handle things on the back end, if you've got a crossplay account, technically you've got a PC account. It just has access to Xbox, PlayStation, yada yada yada. Nifty things! Alright, last chance for everyone to get in on the 75 plat giveaway. Last chance now, exclamation mark, enter in the chat if you'd like a chance to win that. Exclamation mark enter for a chance to win that. We'll do the draw in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Just in the nick of time, there's a book. Just in the nick of time. Draw. Okay then, let's see who's it going to be today. Only one person can be our winner. It's not going to be Manashinu. It's not going to be Versalcom. It's not going to be Voodoo Ray Ray. No chance there for Ellie or for Moose. Not going to go to Radika. So it means then, out of all these deaths, our winner actually is Mindless Life. Congratulations.
Excellent work, Tenno. The extraction point is up ahead.
Mindless Life. Congratulations there. You are a winner today of the 75 plat giveaway. As I say, it is distributed from DE every couple of weeks. You'd see it in your in-game inbox if, and only if, we get your IGN details. So, Mindless Life, exclamation mark IGN in the chat, please, with your Warframe username and platform, so we know where we're sending that. Pleasy pleasies. I'm so glad I added that little detail to the program, that it checks the IGN list for the winner. That's genuinely such a useful detail. I'm so glad I added that one. Patting myself on the back, but you know, come on. First time seeing a draw like that? Yep. Made it all myself. Well, obviously I didn't design the Warframes, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Yo, Mindless. This is not the time to be mindless. You out here? I mean, you entered into the giveaway, so I'm assuming you are hearing me. If we don't see an IGN there, I'm going to have to do a redraw. give you a minute. Okay, fair enough. At least you're alive. You haven't spontaneously combusted at the idea of winning. That's good. You'll get to it. Okay, then. Right, whilst Mindless does that, I think it's about time we raid on out of here to another part of the Warframe community. Oh, and it looks like there is a You're Lucky Clover on Warframe at the moment. Well, that is someone we can easily raid on into. I will not say no to the opportunity to raid into Clover. They are a wonderful person. So let's get that set up. You're Lucky Clover. There we go. Raid is initiated. Alright then, chat. I hope you have yourselves a wonderful time here today. We're going to be popping over to You're Lucky Clover. If you don't know who Clover is, clearly you've not been paying enough attention to these streams because she's been with us a couple times recently. But that is all from me today. I will see you in the next one on Friday for some more Not Warframe. Till then, be your absolute best selves. Bye! And Mindless? Ah, there we are. Perfect time.